Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's session. And the topic is NCF, Panchpadi, and Panchkosha. I am Gyanita. Here is a brief introduction about me. I am currently working as an author and editor at Rohan Book Company in Delhi. Previously, I have worked at Goyal Brothers Prakashan as an editor, and prior to that, I was working as an instructional designer in various e-learning companies. Talking about my education, I have a degree, a BSc degree in biochemistry. Then I did my Bachelor of Education, followed by Masters in Mass Communication and Journalism, as I wanted to enter the publication field. Okay, so I hope we all are aware about the NCF. The NCF stands for National Curriculum Framework, and it has two versions. The first version, or the first draft, was released in the year 2022. And then the recent one, the latest draft, it was released in the year 2023, as we can see on the screen here. Now you might ask, what is the difference between the two versions? So the first version, the 2022 version, it was specifically for the foundational year of learning. By foundational year, I mean for children of age 3 to 8 years of age group, which basically means for nursery to grade 2. Then obviously the 2023 version was a comprehensive document for all the stages of learners, be it foundational, be it preparatory, be it middle stage, or be it secondary. So it is a complete document for children of age 3 to 18 years. Okay. Now, NCF came from National Education Policy. So it was developed under the National Education Policy, which was introduced by our government in the year 2020. What exactly is NCF? It is a guiding document for the curriculum development in entire Indian schools, be it private, be it government schools. All the schools must adhere to NCF guidelines and to NEP guidelines. I think we, as an educator, we all are aware about it, but still I'm focusing on this point that all schools need to adhere to these policies. Okay, so it focuses on holistic development, which means the 360-degree development of a child. It focuses on 21st century skills, and it talks about inclusive learning or inclusion. It encourages experiential learning. What it means? Experiential learning, basically in simple terms, it is practical based learning, problem-based learning, problem-based solutions. So instead of focusing more on theory, we have to focus on hands-on activities, on practicals. And what should be the approach? The approach should be learner-centric. The child should be able to do each and every activity on his own instead of the teacher doing it. Okay. Now, as we are talking about NEP, here is a brief about NEP 2. It is a transformational policy for education in India. As I already mentioned, it was released in the year 2020. Now, it's not like NEP 2020 is the only education policy that we have. The first version, or the first education policy, was released in 1968. Then it was released in 1986, but it was modified, not re-released or new policy. It was just modified in the year 1992. Again, this NCF 2023 or the 2022, it is not one of a kind. We earlier had NCF. The first one was released in 1975. Then second was released in 1998, then in 2000, and then in 2005. Okay, I think if we all have noticed in various NCERT book, if you see the inner page of any NCERT book or any government book, you will see it follows NCA 2005. Okay, now these policies laid the foundation, but the government thought that the world is rapidly changing. Everything has changed. So the learning needs has also changed. So to meet the 21st century needs, we needed this NCF 2003 and the NEP or Education Policy 2020. The NEP focuses on foundational literacy and numeracy. It focuses on multidisciplinary learning, on building a flexible curriculum and to build an integrated pedagogy. What it means about to be multidisciplinary, flexible, and to be integrated is that there should be no division between any subject. For example, this is a very general notion that when a maths teacher is teaching maths, he or she is supposed to only focus on that subject. But the NEP and NCF are saying no, there is no division between subject. A learner is a learner. He or she needs to learn everything. So the approach should be integrated. It also focuses on competency-based education and to focus on Indian values. And so the final point is NCF is the implementation roadmap of NEP 2020. So NEP is the policy, but how to follow the policy or how to build a flexible curriculum is being answered by the NCF. Now, why NCF? It is a very important question right now since different states, state government are implementing the NCF step by step. In most of the northern state, NCF is already being followed. In some other parts, it is gradually being followed. But the question is why NCF? So the first answer is to translate NEP's vision into practice. NEP gave us the guideline that you should do this. We have to build competent learners. We have to build the critical thinking of learners. But how to do it? We will do it through NCF. NCF provides a framework for curriculum, for pedagogy development, and also for assessment development. NCF focuses on creating a joyful learning experiences. The learner should feel happy. He should get the instinct motivation to learn. He should be able to do everything on his own. NCF is relevant. What it means that it is as per the 21st century needs, and it gives equitable learning experiences. It simply means to focus on all type of learners. There are different types of learners. Some are kinesthetic learners, they learn by doing. Some are auditory learners, some are visual learners. So NCF is saying you have to focus on all types of learners. The learning should be equal. It also focuses on critical thinking. It focuses on creativity. It focuses on well-being, and it focuses on character building. I hope NCF introduction is clear. Now let's move to the key elements of NCF. See here, this image, 8 key principles of NCF 2023. So the first one is holistic development. This is the most talked topic of this time, what it means to build a holistic learning curriculum, to how to implement holistic learning. So holistic learning talks about the 360-degree of learning. We should assess a learner based on all areas of learning, be it extracurricular, be it in classroom, be it peer teaching, everything, every aspect of a learner. The second principle is inclusivity. We have to include all types of learners. We have to focus on all types of learners. The third one talks about foundational learning. It means that learning starts from 3 years of age. So we have to focus, we have to give extra attention in those years between 3 to 8 years of age group to build the foundation of learning. It talks about building life skills. If I give you one example of a life skill, that is empathy, self-awareness. A learner should be self-aware. A learner should know what his or her weakness or strength is. The next key principle is multilingualism. The earlier policies focused on 3-language curriculum, that Hindi, English, or English, Hindi, and one mother tongue. But NCF and NEPs are talking about multilingualism. The next principle is technology integration. 7th is collective effort. It means that it is not the duty of a teacher to make a learner competent. It is the duty of the parent. It is the duty of the society. It is the duty of the school to do everything together. So the effort should be
Ms. Gyanita, are you there? Ms. Gyanita, can you hear me? Any issue, Ms. Gyanita?
I'm not sure. The meeting got disconnected.
No, it's still running on. It's
No.
on.
No. I'll resume.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I've just summarized these 8 principles into these bullets that it focuses on curriculum designing. It focuses on pedagogical approaches.
Sorry to interrupt you. Your screen is not shared. Can you share the screen again?
Oh. Yeah, it's there.
Yes, thank you. Go ahead, please.
I'll resume. Okay. So the NCF focuses on curriculum design. It focuses on following different pedagogical approaches. It focuses on assessment development practices. It emphasizes teacher development, not just learners. We have to also make the teachers competent enough to make the learners competent. It focuses on school culture to make the culture safe, comfortable, and happy. And then only the learning can be joyful, right? Okay, now coming to our topic, that is Panchpadi. Panch means 5 and Pad or Padi means step. So in literal terms, Panchpadi is a Sanskrit term and it stands for a 5-step learning process. When to apply this process? In classroom, while building your lesson plans, while building the plan of your chapter, be it any subject. So the first step is Aditi. Aditi is also a Sanskrit term. It means introduction. The next step is Bodh or conceptual understanding. The third pad or the third step is Abhyas or practice. The fourth step is Prayog or application. And the fifth step is Prasar or expansion. Now we will talk about each and every step. I have only given the brief, but I think this brief will give you an idea about what Aditi is. So Aditi is introduction. While introducing your chapter, you have to build connections. So Aditi is talking about establishing connection, linking the prior knowledge of the learners to the current chapter, to the learning of the current chapter. It is about activating prior knowledge, or in education term, we call it scaffolding. What should be the method? Again, how to do it? You have to ask questions. You have to share real life examples, or you have to tell a short story before introducing any lesson. For example, if I give you a topic of types of motion. So me as a teacher, I'm going to teach types of motion today in class. So I will not just open the book and tell go to page 60 and start reading this. No, that is not the way. Aditi is talking that you have to build a connection. First, you have to ask questions. You have to engage the learners so that they get curious, they get interested in the lesson. The next step is Bodh, which is conceptual understanding. This is the main content, to teach the main content, to teach the main core principles. So it is about understanding the core principle of the lesson or of the chapter. What should be the method? The method should be play-based. The method should be inquiry-based learning. It should be discussion, experiments, or reading. Play-based is basically more followed in the foundational year of learning, that is for the learners of 3 to 8 years of age group. Inquiry-based, discussion, experiments, these all method can be followed from grade 3 to grade 12. Teacher should observe and guide the learning process. The focus should be on hands-on activities, experiential learning, and learning by doing. The next step is abhyas. So now the learners have linked the prior knowledge to the current knowledge. They have understood the lesson. What next? They have to practice. They have to do abhyas. This is reinforcement through practice. Why it is important? Because it strengthens the understanding. It helps in retaining concept through repetition and application. The simple answer about the method is, or how to follow this is, give worksheets, give quizzes, play a game in class, or give a peer teaching activity. You have to give hands-on experiences. You have to incorporate life skills such as problem solving questions, collaboration question, empathy based or social emotional learning based questions. Okay. The next is prayog or application. Now the understanding is done, the practice is done. What next? We have to apply that learning. So we have to integrate the learning into real life situation. We have to enable the learners to connect concept with real life situations. The teacher should encourage the transfer of knowledge to new context. How? Through projects, through role plays, through field observations, through experiments, or through scenario-based tasks. Now the final step, that is prasar or expansion, to expand the knowledge, to give this knowledge to other people. So in simple terms, it is knowledge sharing. It is about encouraging the learners to share their understanding with peers and others. Again, the question, why it matters? Why is it important? Because it is said that teaching others help strengthen neural pathways and it deepens the understanding of a child. When you are teaching other what you already know, you are basically practicing again. You are revisiting your concepts again. It promotes confidence. It builds communication skills and it also builds collaboration skills. It transforms the learning from rote learning to real life application and creativity. I would like to give one more example in some of the IB schools or in right now, other top schools are also following this approach, that is flipped classroom approach, where the teacher just observes, just guides it. The teacher gives direction that forms small groups and teach this topic to each other. Flipped classroom, where the role has been flipped. The roles have been reversed. The teacher is the student and the learner is teaching the teacher. Yeah, here I have mentioned about flipped classroom. So the method should be conversation, storytelling, role play, singing songs, reading alouds, creating games out of the concepts that you have learned, peer teaching, group presentation, group discussion, or flipped classroom scenarios. We can also integrate the Prasar step in home-based sharing. How? That we can give some activities that go home, talk to your siblings, talk to your family, get the information or give the information. In that way, we are also including the parents in the learning process. Now, again, let's come back to the final goal of NEP and NCF. It talks about all-round growth of a child, be it emotionally, be it socially, be it physically, or be it intellectually. So through Panchpadi, we have already seen that how to build the intellect, how to build the learner's brain intellectually. Now, how to build it emotionally, socially, and physically. We will do it through the Panchkosha. So the five koshas or the Panchkoshas, this term come from one of the Upanishads, from Taittiriya Upanishad. It is mentioned in that. It mentions that a human body has 5 sheets. There are 5 sheets in a human body. The first is Annamaya Kosh or the first sheet, physical sheet. The second is Manomaya Kosh or mental sheet. The third is Anandmaya Kosh, Then we have Pranmaya Kosh, life force sheath, and we have Vijnanmaya, or it is also pronounced as Vigyanmaya Kosh, or the wisdom sheath. So the Panchkoshas basically talks about nurturing, nourishing all aspects of a child that is necessary for holistic development or holistic education to take place. Now let's talk about the first layer, the Annamaya Kosh. It is the physical layer. It means development through balanced nutrition, exercise, and healthy habits. We have to include activities in the learning process like yoga, sports, talking about proper diet, talking about building strength, talking about flexibility and endurance. Why it is important? Because a strong physical foundation supports overall well-being and learning readiness. Suppose you are not feeling well, you are sick. Will you be able to learn? Will you be able to enjoy the learning? No, right? So that is why we have to build the strength of young learners, of the children, so that they enjoy the learning process. They are physically active, because engaging children in age-appropriate exercises, outdoor play, it fosters and fostering an understanding of personal hygiene. It helps in building the Annamaya Kosh. The second Kosh is life energy layer or Pranmaya Kosh. It talks about enhancement of life energy via practices like pranayam or breathing exercise. We have to include activities like breathing control activities, energy balancing activities, meditation, promote vitality. Why we have to balance? Why we have to balance the energy? Because in classroom, you must have seen the learners are hyperactive. It is really difficult to control the young learners especially and to attract their attention towards learning. But through focus on Pranmaya Kosh, we can do it. Why it is important? Balanced energy levels lead to better concentration and stress management. The next layer is Manomaya Kosh or the mind layer. It focuses on mental health and cognitive skills. How? Through activities like emotional stability, balance, concentration. Activities like mindfulness activities, creative arts, stress management techniques. Here are some examples: feeling circle, giving gratitude journal as a task, story-based reflection and questions. For example, while you are teaching an English lesson, there are different characters, there are different situations. You can ask questions in the class like, how do you think the character felt while this happened? What you would have done during this situation? It helps a learner to think, to reflect personally, to think critically, and to focus on the mind layer. Why it is important? Because emotional intelligence and stability are crucial for personal and academic success. We have to be mindful about ourselves to concentrate on the learning process. The next layer is Vijnanmaya Kosh or the intellectual layer. It is also called wisdom layer. It talks about cultivation of intellectual capabilities of learners, on building critical thinking, and on building wisdom. Which activities we can include? Activities that are problem-based, that are about problem-solving tasks, analytical thinking exercises. Some examples are think, pair, share. This think, pair, share is one of the thinking routine from Harvard School. They have different thinking routines, and one such example is think, pair, share, where you give one situation to a group of learners, or you pair the learners. You give one situation, you tell them to think about it and discuss about it, and then share what do you think about this situation. We can include what if scenarios in our lesson. We can include decision-making questions in our lessons. Why it is important? Again, intellectual development fosters creativity. It fosters innovation and it builds lifelong learning. And the final kosh, Anandmaya kosh, inner self or bliss layer. This is the final layer. When you are physically active, you have developed your Anmaya kosh. When you are mentally active, you have activated your Manomaya kosh. You have activated your Vijnanmaya kosh. Now all your koshas are active. You are physically active, you are mentally active, you have learned your concept. Then you get the Anand, you get the inner bliss. This is Anandmaya Kosh. It talks about spiritual growth. It talks about inner joy. It talks about activities like meditation or reflection or giving spiritual practices tasks like prayer or nature walk. Some example are reflection time activities, nature walks, acts of kindness wall, art therapy, happiness journal or joy journal. I will give you one example. After all my hectic schedule, I love doing clay craft. I love building different toys from clay. I love making toys. This is my Anandmaya Kosh. After focusing on all my koshas, I get the inner bliss by doing clay therapy or art therapy. What is the importance of Anandmaya Kosh? It focuses on spiritual fulfillment. It contributes to overall happiness and the realization of purpose in life. Now, this is one quote, I have reframed it as the NCF and NEP are talking, that creating learners who are not only smart but also self-aware, kind, responsible, and competitive and competent. I'm sorry. This is the final goal of NCF and NEP. This should be the final goal of every teacher, of every educator. Now, to conclude this, I have tabulated the learning of Panchpadi and Panchkosha. So the Panchpadi, it encourages inquiry-based learning or play-based learning. It promotes active participation of learners. It helps build critical thinking and problem-solving activities or abilities. It is rooted in constructivist pedagogy. And what about Panchkosha? Panchkosha supports the whole child development. It aligns with the well-being, emotional intelligence, values, and mindfulness of a learner. It encourages self-awareness, health, and empathy of a learner. And both of these approaches, they complement each other in classroom practices. Together, they promote a balanced, meaningful, and joyful learning experience for every learner. Thank you. That was all about Panchpadi and Panchkosha.
Thank you, Ms. Gyanita. Can you stop sharing the screen?
Yes.
Thank you. Excellent explanation, Ms. Gyanita. So as we don't have any audience for this session, I would like to ask a couple of questions from my side.
Sure.
So the first question is, what can we learn from the Panchpadi concept about taking care of the environment?
Yes. So Panchpadi, instead of taking care of the environment, I think we should focus on Panchkosha, on what kind of mindfulness activities we can include in our classroom. Because Panchpadi is basically about the lesson planning. It talks about lesson planning only. It has given some of the guidelines that how a lesson should be structured, how the teacher should structure the entire lesson, how to build the connection, how to integrate it to real life situation. But Panchkosha, it mainly focuses on creating a positive learning environment in the classroom. See, what till now, all all the educators or all the teachers have focused on only learning, that no, we have to complete this lesson, we have to complete this syllabus, that the learner should be able to answer this, there should be a specific way to answer, or there should be only one acceptable answer. But NCF or Panchkosha and other elements are saying every answer is acceptable. If a teacher has asked one question, there are 40 children, which means we have 40 different types of learners. 10 learners may give you the right answer, other 10 learners may give you different answer, but at least they are answering. That is how you build a positive learning environment, that you accept all kind of answers. And you have included different types of activities into your lesson planning. It is not talking about just pen and paper answers or pen and paper teaching. It is talking about including different kinds of activities. It is talking about making the learner stress-free, right?
Right. So, Ms. Gyanita, how can we apply these concepts to real life situations in education?
About the Panchpadi or about the Panchkosha? See, both.
Panchpadi. Panchpadi.
Yeah. Panchpadi, I think we all are already doing it, but we were not aware. Like if you see any lesson plan of any school, of any classroom, you will see that there is a circle time of 5 minutes where the teacher engages the learners. So we are already doing it. We just have to divide the lesson accordingly, that you don't have to just teach the lesson in a specific manner. You have to build the learning outcomes or the learning objective of the lesson in such a way that finally the learner is able to fulfill that outcome. No, so Panchpadi is already integrated in every classroom. We are already doing it through our lesson plans. Yes, about the Panchkosha, since we have very limited time in a classroom, for every period is 30 to 35 minutes long, so the teacher is not able to do that much activity. Again, the total teaching period is only 180 days in a year. So yes, it is challenging. Not every activity can be done. Not every play-based activity can be done in the classroom, but at least we can try to include as much as we can.
Right. So talking about the challenges, Ms. Gyanita, so what challenges might we face in using the Panchkosha idea, and how can we overcome them?
I think the major challenge is time constraint. In India, we have so many holidays for festivals, for summer vacations and other vacations. And in recent years, we have seen the rise of online classroom because of pollution and other scenarios, So the major constraint is time, I think. The we as a teacher, we as an educator, we don't have that much teaching period in a year to include everything, to focus on each and every learner. But again, there is nothing that is impossible. We can try. We can try as much as we can.
True. True. So, any real life examples can you give any real life examples where you have implemented these concepts, and what's the outcome?
I really wanted to share some snippets of my upcoming book series, but it is against the company policy, so I did not attach any screenshot. See, I'm working on English textbook series for grades 1 to 8. Okay, I have tried to include all the elements of NCF in that, be it Panchpadi, be it Panchkosha, or be it Pramans, or be it about assessment development. How I have integrated the Panchpadi is that each and every lesson begins with a theme-based page. So, for example, my grade 1 textbook, it has 10 chapters, 5 lessons and 5 poems. For each lesson, I have dedicated one theme page. The themes can be nature, animal, since it is for grade 1, so the learner can easily relate to these themes, to friendship, to pets. So the theme, I connect the lesson, the learning of the lesson with real life situation. I ask 3 to 4 questions based on critical thinking, based on analytical thinking, to build a connection. And then the lesson starts. In between the lesson, there are different questions that are critical thinking based, that are individual responses based. Then the comprehension part comes, where I have given plenty of exercise. Some of them are picture based for the young learners. Some of them are directly theory based questions. So there is a balance of modern and traditional assessment. Then I have given vocabulary activities in the form of technology integrated learning, technology integrated worksheets. The learner will scan the QR code. He or she will listen the pronunciation of the word. He or she will learn the correct pronunciation, and then he will perform the activity. So in this series, I have tried to include all the elements, but it will be released in August or September. So I'm really sorry I'm not able to attach the screenshots. So
I understand.
I would have able to explain much better about the Panchpadi as how to integrate it into your classroom or into your teaching.
We really look forward to the release, and I'm sure it will make wonders once it's out. So, Miss Gyanita, because of the time constraint, again, we have. I need to end the session. Thank you for the talk and for patiently answering all the questions. It's a lovely topic. It's a very new one, and this is the first time, a speaker spoke about this, basically sharing your knowledge on our platform. So it's really, we are really grateful to you for this wonderful session. And anything else you want to mention, Miss Gyanita, before I end the session?
Oh, I want to thank you. Thank you for giving me this platform. Thank you for inviting me to speak on this topic. As I already mentioned in the start of the meeting, that NCF topic is really vast. It is a really long document. We can keep talking about it, and there will be no end to it. But this topic is really close to me. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak about this and to share my knowledge.
It's mutual. Thank you. I'll end the session now.